Our selection today is every day is a day of Thanksgiving.
Is a day of Thanksgiving. God's been so good to me. Every day He's blessing me. Every day is a day of Thanksgiving. Take that time to glorify Yahweh today. Is a day of Thanksgiving. God's been so good to me. Every day He's blessing me. Every day is a day of Thanksgiving. Take that time to glorify Yahweh today.
All around me, when fighting Satan, they send them power that never cease from trying to tear me down.
Tear me down.
But I just lift my hands to glory, believing in Yah's redemption story. I'm thanking Him for His saving grace. Yah gives me power just to run this race every day. Every day is our day of Thanksgiving. Yah's been so good to me. Every day He's blessing me. Every day is our day of Thanksgiving. never cease from trying to tear me down.
Tear me down, tear me down.
But I just lift my hands to glory, believing in Yah's redemption story. I'm thanking Him for His saving grace. Yah gives me power just to run this race every day. Every day.
Every day
Is our day of thanksgiving.
Yah's been good.
God's been so good to me. Every day He's blessing me. Every day is our day of thanksgiving.
Take that time to
Glorify Yahweh today. He keeps blessing me,
Over and over,
blessing me.
blessing.
He opened the door that I might see. He's blessing me.
Blessing me.
He keeps blessing me,
Over and over,
blessing me.
blessing.
take that time to
Glorify Yahweh today. He keeps blessing me,
Over and over,
blessing me.
blessing.
He opened the door that I might see. He's blessing me.
Blessing me.
He keeps blessing me,
Over and over,
blessing me.
take that time to
Glorify Yahweh today. Every day is our day of thanksgiving. God's been so good to me.
Every day.
Every day He's blessing me. Every day is our day of thanksgiving.
take that time to
Glorify Yahweh.
take that time to
Glorify Yahweh.
take that time to
Glorify Yahweh today.
The oracles of the UCI. 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober and watch unto prayer. The oracles of the UCI. 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as dear children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as become saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather given of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth. Therefore, let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on Yahweh's Holy Sabbath Day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in Stone Mountain, Georgia, which is also our New Year's Eve, if you will. We will be celebrating our Hebrew New Year here as the sun goes down, as we know that we know when the new day begins, and it is not at midnight. So those things that the nations give us, we understand that we have to know which things to shed and which things to keep. We have a really bad habit of anything that we see the Gentiles flourish in, we then put that in the sin column, and we put that in the things that we must not do. And what we have to do to deal with that is look in Yahweh's law. Yahweh's law is what describes what it is that we're supposed to do or not to do. So we have to then make sure that we stay focused on those things. But understanding all that, we also have to deal with that the children of Israel are going to have to go through a major change. We have, you know that we are creatures of habit, and there's absolutely nothing like 400 years of being in a place to get you in a place of comfort. So at the end of the day, when you talk about the children of Israel being pushed back into our rightful place, this is not going to be a joyous situation to start off with. Matter of fact, just as our people left out of Babylon the first time, there were some of our people that didn't go back because they had got accustomed to all of the things that were there, not understanding that was a punishment, and the punishment was over, and when the punishment was over, it was time to go home. Now the problem with that is now we got to deal with all of the things that we have set up in Babylon, and we got to walk away from all of the things that we have set up in Babylon. That means unions, friendships, all of those things that we did in that place that we were going to have to reevaluate as it came time to walk in Yahweh's law. Now, when you talk about the things coming upon the children of Israel, being a watchman of Israel, which is what Yahweh has set to warn the children of Israel of things that were coming upon them, being a watchman during a time of peace is a easier job. I don't think a watchman will ever have an easy job, but it's easier when there's peace, because you never have to blow the trumpet, you never have to warn anybody, you never have to do anything. So when we talk about the watchmen during the time of Yahshua's reign, when peace is set up, it is going to be an easy job for a watchman to sit on the wall. Because after Yahshua takes care of that business, nobody dare come into the holy city and do anything or even speak out of turn. The things that were said unto Moshe, people won't even form their lips to say those things when Yahshua returns. So the job of the watchman is going to be much easier at that point. But until that point, we have to deal with the things that are going to come upon the children of Israel, and it's going to be an interesting thing. Now, the dangers of leading the children of Israel are real. When things go as expected, Israel praises their leaders with utmost joy. When things go unexpectedly, Israel will rise against the same leaders they just finished praising. When Yahweh called his priests to prophesy unto his people, he warned them over and over to be prepared for what they were about to encounter. He told his servants that Israel desires smooth sayings to be stated unto them. This creates a problem, as Yahweh is not a smooth saying Elohim. He is an Elohim of righteous judgment. As it is written, I will magnify the law and make it honorable. The problem is, making the law honorable also causes separation among men. Let's begin today's sermon in Ezekiel chapter 3. Ezekiel chapter 3, and we're going to read verses 1 through 27. And today's sermon is entitled, The Woes of a Watchman. It is written, it says, the watchman must not keep silent. If the watchman keeps silent, then destruction comes upon the children of Israel. The issue with that is the watchman is not talking, saying a bunch of niceties. The watchman is warning the children of Israel about the danger that is on its way. Now, it's difficult for the children of Israel to accept that because they don't see the danger. It's very difficult trying the whole vantage point of the watchman is the watchman is placed on the wall naturally. All right. So being placed on the wall, he has a vantage point that other people don't have. He's set high up on the wall so that he can see the things that will approach Israel before they approach. So the difficulty in being a watchman naturally is that you're warning people of things that they themselves cannot see, and they have to have belief that that is what you see. Then you have the spiritual aspect of being a watchman, where Yahweh then uses the experience and the things that those individuals have gone through to make sure that they are spiritually high on that wall so that they recognize what it is that they are looking at. But the issue still is convincing the children of Israel that that there is upcoming danger. Ezekiel chapter 3, and let's start that at verse 1.
Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, eat that you findeth. Eat this roll, and go speak unto the house of Israel.
So the first thing you got to do is to digest it. So what we do a lot of times is we're ready to go and deal with the things of the roll before we eat it. The first thing is, eat this roll, digest this. This roll is the writing. This is the book. Digest the book first, then you go talk. He didn't just tell him some things and then say go. No. Digest this. After you digest this, then this thing begins. Go ahead.
So I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat that roll. And he said unto me, Son of man, cause your belly to eat, and fill your bowels with this roll that I give you. Then did I eat it, and it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness. And he said unto me, Son of man, go, get you unto the house of Israel, and speak with my words unto them.
Right. After you have digested this thing, now go and speak to the children of Israel. Go ahead.
You know, the situation with digestion is we don't really understand digestion and what goes into the process of breaking it down to the minute particle that can pass through your body.
Yeah, because you can do your food like that. You can take like one bite and then just try to swallow like a whole half a sandwich, it ain't going to go well. You didn't go through the right part to break all of that down so that you can digest it. All right? So then what happens when it's time to pass that through? You ate it wrong, you're going to get rid of it wrong too. Go ahead.
Verse 5. For you are not sent to a people of a strange speech and of an hard language, but to the house of Israel. Not to many people of a strange speech and of an hard language, whose word you cannot understand. Surely had I sent you to them, they would have hearkened unto you. But the house of Israel will not hearken unto you, for they will not hearken unto me. For all the house of Israel are impudent and hard-hearted.
Right. So if he's going to send him unto the children of Israel, he can't send him with a bunch of flowers and chocolates and tell him, all right, I'm about to send you into a love fest. Now, I want you to just show them how much you love them. Just tell them all the time, I just love you, the little bit of Reese's Pieces, yes I do. I just love you. Just tell them all the time. I want you to sing songs and dance. I want you to do all these things. Problem is judgment coming. Now, how you getting these people ready for judgment and all you telling them is a bunch of niceties? So when this entity shows up on this horse with a vesture dipped in blood, what you gonna do? Go ahead.
Behold, I have made your face strong against their faces, and your forehead strong against their foreheads. As an adamant harder than flint have I made your forehead. Fear them not, neither be dismayed at their looks.
So he's got to make this man, his forehead has to be harder than flint. Flint is rock. You got to be harder than that to deal with these people that I'm about to send you to go deal with. See, when we so busy doing, these Israelite pep rallies and everything is nice, you don't understand the people that you're dealing with. Yahweh is telling you, this is my people, and I'm about to send you to these people, but let me tell you about my people. All right? So I'm going to need you to... You hear that sound? You hear that? I need your forehead to be harder than that. Go ahead.
Though they be a rebellious house. Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, all my words that I shall speak unto you receive and hear within your ears.
Right. So to prepare him, he don't just give him a word. He prepares him for the things that he's about to give him. See? He doesn't just show up, say some word, now go and speak this word. No. I'm going to prepare you for what's about to happen. Because you need to be ready for the things that are about to happen unto you. Go ahead.
Verse 11. And go, get you to them of the captivity, unto the children of your people, and speak unto them, and tell them, Thus says the Adonai Yah, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear. Then the Spirit took me up, and I heard behind me a voice of a great rushing, saying, Blessed be the glory of Yahweh from his place. I heard also the noise of wings of the living creatures that touch one another, and the noise of the wheels over against them, and a noise of a great rushing.
And if you read the beginning of Ezekiel, you're going to find in those first two chapters, he has seen some things that he has never seen before. This is how Yahweh gets your attention and shows you the power that you're dealing with, so that you don't deal with that power in the wrong way. Do you understand the power? This is why there's no fear of Yahweh, because a lot of people haven't seen his power. So before he goes into this, he shows him the power. Once you see burning fire and wheels turning in and faces on four sides of something, you learn, you know what? I ain't playing with that right now. Folks see a pit bull and they go sit down. Imagine if a pit bull came up but it had four heads. Note to self, leave him and that dog alone. I'm not messing with that dog with them heads. I'm not messing with that. There's automatically a certain fear and respect of that. So Yahweh shows his power before he goes into that. So this is the part that we didn't go into. So we're starting this part as Yahweh shows his power. See, this is the difference between Moshe's obedience and the children of Israel's disobedience. He showed Moshe his power. Moshe knew, oh, it's a line, I ain't crossing there. It's certain things I ain't doing right there. Because I done seen that power. Go ahead.
So the Spirit lifted me up and took me away, and I went in bitterness in the heat of my spirit. But the hand of Yahweh was strong upon me. Then I came to them of the captivity at Tel Abib, that dwelt by the river of Chebar. And I sat where they sat, and remained there astonished among them 7 days. And it came to pass at the end of 7 days, that the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, I have made you a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word at my mouth, and give them warning from me. When I say unto the wicked, You shall surely die, and you give him not warning, nor speak to warn the wicked from his wicked way, to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his lawlessness, but his blood will I require at your hand. Yet if you warn the wicked, and he turn not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his lawlessness, but you have delivered your soul. Again, when a righteous man does turn from his righteousness, and commit lawlessness, and I lay a stumbling block before him, he shall die, because you have not given him warning. He shall die in his sin, and his righteousness which he has done shall not be remembered. But his blood will I require at your hand.
Right, because it was your job, then his blood will be required at your hand because it was your job to warn him. Your job. Yahweh deals with covenants, not hobbies. It wasn't your hobby. No, it's your job. Yahweh is a covenant Elohim. He deals with covenants. You enter into a covenant that this is what you're going to do. Go ahead.
Nevertheless, if you warn the righteous man, that the righteous man sin not, and he does not sin, he shall surely live, because he is warned. Also you have delivered your soul. And the hand of Yahweh was there upon me. And he said unto me, Arise, go forth into the plain, and I will there talk with you. Then I arose and went forth into the plain, and, behold, the glory of Yah stood there, as the glory which I saw by the river of Chebar, and I fell on my face. Then the Spirit entered into me, and set me upon my feet.
So when he saw this, then I arose and went forth into the plain, and behold, the glory of Yahweh stood there, as the glory which I saw by the river of Chebar. I fell on my face. Respect. Enough fear that I'm going to deal with this in a certain way. I ain't just finna walk up on this. Go ahead.
And spake with me. And he said unto me, Go, shut yourself within your house. But you, O son of man, behold, they shall put bands upon you, and shall bind you with them, and you shall not go out among them. And I'll make your tongue cleave to the roof of your mouth, that you shall be dumb, and shall not be to them a reprover, for they are a rebellious house.
Now, it is his job to be a watchman. It is his job to warn them of their way when they are going wrong. But then there's also a point where Yahweh says he does not want them to change. Shut up. I'm going to make your tongue cleave to the roof of your mouth and you won't say a thing. When you get ready to say something, ain't no words going to come out. Why? Because I don't want them to repent. They done got so filthy, I'm going to let them go in it. Don't say nothing. Let them keep going. See, our thing is we believe that Yahweh wants to save everybody. He does in the beginning. Then he watches man in his actions. And then Yahweh just sits there. Because that's a watchman's job, is to warn them. But then you're talking about now, he gets to a point where he will make his tongue cleave to the roof of his mouth. He cannot speak. He said a watchman must never keep silent. But Yahweh going to make him keep silent at a certain time. Go ahead.
But when I speak with you, I will open your mouth. And you shall say unto them, Thus says the Adonai Yah, He that hears, let him hear, and he that forbeareth, let him forbear. for they are a rebellious house.
For they are a rebellious house. And this is something that we have to understand if we're going to deal with what Yahweh has called us to do, understanding that he has given us a form of light during a time of gross darkness. We have to understand that this is what we're going to be dealing with on a larger scale. See, what we deal with here is we're dealing with a group of believers, but some believers who believe a different way. What's going to happen when you face to face with people who don't believe at all? I don't think we're taking that into consideration. You talking that talk to people who believe is one thing. What happens when you got a bunch of people who willing to kill you who don't believe in Yahweh at all? And them our people. I ain't talking about some strange nation far off. I'm talking about people who look just like us. That's what we got coming toward us. Speaking the word to people who already know the word, what kind of challenge is that? See, we got a little glimpse of it when we went in that prison. And they walked us in there and turned around and walked back out. Y'all remember when they when Jeffrey Dahmer went to jail and that dude beat him to death? It took seconds. He didn't care if he was gonna get caught. He already had like 2 life sentences. So, the third wasn't no big deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I come back twice, then they're going to put me back to jail. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, let me do another one. So, wasn't that? By the time they got to him, it was over. They let us in the gate, shut them bars behind us, and walked out. And the sound of them bars is something very interesting. And walked away. There's like a handful of people in there who believed the word. The majority of those people were looking at us like they wanted to do something. Let's go to the next graphic here, and I want you to read these, the scripture on those notes, because I've also noticed in looking at this that sometimes we deal with the office of a prophet and not really understanding where Yahweh was pulling them from. Go ahead.
Ezekiel chapter 1 and verse 3. The word of Yahweh came expressly unto Ezekiel the priest.
Stop. Sometimes we get so busy in calling the individuals prophets, we don't really understand where they came from. They came from the priesthood. They came from all of this background. He doesn't just randomly go out and grab people. Even when you deal with the situation of Yahshua going to pick men, he was dealing with who Yahweh had chosen. So then he's asking them questions. Cephas, who do men say I am? Such and such. Who do you say I am? Well, I believe you're such and such. Yahweh has revealed it unto you. You are the rock on which I build my... Boom! He knew by the things that they were able to answer who Yahweh had chosen. So understand where he's getting these pool of prophets from. He's just not going eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Go ahead.
Even when you look at Moshe, even with Moshe becoming the first priest, for 40 years he was under a priest. And then he got the charge. And then from Aaron comes the rest of the priest's brother.
Right. And he was still dealing within that family. You see? So he dealt within the family, but even sent him out, he's still being trained. Go ahead.
The son of Buzzai, in the land of the Chaldeans by the river Chebar, and the hand of Yahweh was there upon him. Jeremiah chapter 1 and verse 1. The words of Jeremiah the son of Hilkiah, of the priests that were in the Anatoth in the land of Benjamin.
So understand the background that these people already got before they enter into this office of being a prophet. We cannot discount that. Otherwise, we're not really looking at that in the right way. Let's go to our 2 Kings chapter 18. 2 Kings chapter 18, and let's start that at verse 13.
Verse 13. Now in the 14th year of King Hezekiah did Sennacherib, king of Assyria, come up against all the fenced cities of Yehuda and took them. And Hezekiah, king of Yehuda, sent to the king of Assyria to Lachish, saying, I have offended. Return from me. That which you putteth on me will I bear.
When you deal with the children of Israel over and over, not doing the things that we were supposed to do, now we have outside entities ruling over us with rigor, imposing taxes upon us, all of these things that we're not supposed to have to pay. We're paying tribute. Go ahead.
And the king of Assyria appointed unto Hezekiah, king of Yehuda, 300 talents of silver and 30 talents of gold. And Hezekiah gave him all the silver that was found in the house of Yah, and in the treasures of the king's house. At that time did Hezekiah cut off the gold from the doors of the temple of Yahweh, and from the pillars which Hezekiah, king of Yehuda, had overlaid, and gave it to the king of Assyria.
Check that out. At that time did Hezekiah cut off the gold from the doors of the temple of Yahweh, and from the pillars which Hezekiah, king of Yehuda, had overlaid, and gave it to the king of Assyria. Go ahead.
And the king of Assyria sent Tartan and Rabsaris and Rabshakeh from Lachish to King Hezekiah with a great host against Jerusalem. And they went up and came to Jerusalem. And when they were come up, they came and stood by the conduit of the upper pool, which is in the highway of the fuller's field. And when they had called to the king, there came out to them Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, which was over the household, and Shibna the scribe, and Joah the son of Asaph the recorder. And Rabshakeh said unto them, Speak you now to Hezekiah. Thus says the great king, the king of Assyria, What confidence is this wherein you trusteth? You sayeth, but they are but vain words. I have counsel and strength for the war. Now in whom does you trust, that you rebel against me? Now, behold, you trusteth upon the staff of this bruised reed, even upon Egypt, on which if a man lean, it will go down into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh king of Egypt unto all that trust on him. But if you say unto me, We trust in Yahweh our Elohim, is not that he, whose high places and whose altars Hezekiah has taken away, and has said to Yehuda and Jerusalem, You shall worship before this altar in Jerusalem? Now therefore, I pray you, give pledges to my master, the king of Assyria, and I'll deliver you 2,000 horses, if you be able on your part to set riders upon them. How then will you turn away the face of one captain of the least of my master's servants, and put your trust on Egypt for chariots and for horsemen?
Right. This is to take down their confidence. This is what all of these things are doing. You know, when you get down into something, and especially after you watch the other part of Israel go through all of this punishment and get dealt with, now they coming in upon you and they're making real stout words. This is to make you waver in your faith. Go ahead.
Verse 25. Am I now come up without Yahweh against this place to destroy it? Yahweh said to me,
Yahweh said to him,
Go up against this land and destroy it.
So bad enough that he has to think about all these other things. Now he's got to deal in his head that it is now being said that Yahweh told this man to come up and destroy this place. Go ahead.
Then said Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, and Shebna, and Joah, unto Rabshakeh, Speak, I pray you, to your servants in the Syrian language, for we understand it, and talk not with us in the Yehudi's language in the ears of the people that are on the wall. But Rabshakeh said unto them, Has my master sent me to your master, and to you, to speak these words? Has he not sent me to the men which is on the wall, that they may eat their dung, and drink their own piss with you?
That's a really bad situation. That's a really bad situation right there. I don't think I have to describe that situation. That don't sound tasty. Go ahead.
Then Rabshakeh stood and cried with a loud voice in the Yehudi's language, and spake, saying, Hear the word of the great king, the king of Assyria. Thus says the king, Let not Hezekiah deceive you, for he shall not be able to deliver you out of his hand. Neither let Hezekiah make you trust in Yahweh, saying, Yahweh will surely deliver us, and this city shall not be delivered into the hand of the king of Assyria. Hearken not to Hezekiah, for thus says the king of Assyria, Make an agreement with me by a present, and come out to me, and then eat you every man of his own vine, and every one of his fig tree, and drink you every one the waters of his cistern, until I come and take you away to a land like your own land, a land of corn and wine, a land of bread and vineyards, a land of oil olive and of honey, that you may live and not die, and hearken not unto Hezekiah, when he persuades you, saying, Yahweh will deliver us. Has any of the gods of the nations delivered at all his land out of the hand of the king of Assyria? Where are the gods of Hamath and of Arpad? Where are the gods of Sepharvaim, Hena, and Avi? Have they delivered Samaria out of mine hand?
Right. So then he boasts of the things that he was able to do in the neighboring lands. Go ahead.
Who are they among all the gods of the countries that have delivered their country out of my hand, that Yahweh should deliver Jerusalem out of mine hand? But the people held their peace and answered him not a word, for the king's commandment was, saying, Answer him not. Then came Eliakim the son of Hilkiah, which was over the household, and Shibna the scribe, and Joah the son of Asaph the recorder, to Hezekiah with their clothes rent, and told him the words of Rabshakeh. And it came to pass, when the king Hezekiah heard it, that he rent his clothes and covered himself with sackcloth, and went into the house of Yah. And he sent Eliakim, which was over the household, and Shibna the scribe, and the elders of the priests, covered with sackcloth, to Esaias the prophet, the son of Amoz.
All right. So then now what we're going to do is we're going to pick this same portion up, but we're going to jump to Isaiah chapter 37. So we see where that event connects to the prophets. So instead of reading that account in 2 Kings 19, we're going to read that account in Isaiah 37, and let's start that at verse 14.
And Hezekiah received the letter from the hand of the messengers and read it. And Hezekiah went up unto the house of Yah and spread it before Yah. And Hezekiah prayed unto Yah, saying, O Yahweh of hosts, Elohim of Israel, that dwelleth between the cherubims, you art the El, even you alone. Of all the kingdoms of the earth, you have made heaven and earth. Incline your ear, O Yahweh, and hear. Open your eyes, O Yahweh, and see, and hear all the words of Sennacherib, which has sent to reproach the living El. Of a truth, Yahweh, the kings of Assyria have laid waste all the nations and their countries, and have cast their gods into the fire. For they are no gods, but the work of men's hands, wood and stone. Therefore they have destroyed them. Now therefore, O Yahweh our El, save us from his hand, that all the kingdoms of the earth may know that you are Yahweh, even you only. Then Esaias, the son of Amoz, sent unto Hezekiah, saying, Thus says Yahweh, El of Israel, whereas you have prayed to me against Sennacherib, king of Assyria, this is the word which Yahweh had spoken concerning him.
So you have a king who goes and spreads the letter before Yahweh. Then he offers a prayer, but the answer don't come to him. Answer comes to somebody else. Then that somebody come to him. So you have to learn how Yahweh works. Even in his own court, he deals in different ways. He doesn't do everything and give it to one individual. Go ahead.
The virgin, the daughter of Zion, has despised you and laughed you to scorn. The daughter of Jerusalem has shaken her head at you. Whom have you reproached and blasphemed? And against whom have you exalted your voice and lifted up your eyes on high? Even against the Holy One of Israel. By your servants have you reproached the Adonai, and have said, By the multitude of my chariots am I come up to the height of the mountains, to the sides of Lebanon, and I'll cut down the tall cedars thereof, and the choice fir trees thereof, and I'll enter into the height of his border, and the forest of his Carmel. I have digged and drunk water, and with the sole of my feet have I dried up all the rivers of the besieged places. Have you not heard long ago how I have done it, and of ancient times that I have performed it? Now have I brought it to the pass, that you shouldeth be to lay waste defended cities into ruinous heaps. Therefore their inhabitants were of small power. They were dismayed and confounded. They were as the grass of the field, and as the green herb, as the grass on the housetops, and as corn blasted before it be grown up. But I know your abode, and your going out, and your coming in, and your rage against me. Because your rage against me, and your tumult is come up into mine ears. Therefore will I put my hook in your nose, and my bridle in your lips, and I'll turn you back by the way by which you cometh.
Now understand that. Because your rage against me and your tumult has come up into mine ears, therefore will I put my hook in your nose and put my bridle in your lips. This is how you direct a horse. All right? And I will turn you back by the way which you came. Go ahead.
And this shall be a sign unto you. You shall eat this year such as grows of itself, and the second year that which springeth of the same. And in the third year sow you, and reap, and plant vineyards, and eat the fruit thereof. And the remnant that is escaped of the house of Yehudah shall again take root downward, and bear fruit upward. For out of Jerusalem shall go forth a remnant, and they that escaped out of Mount Zion. The zeal of Yahweh of hosts shall do this. Therefore thus says Yahweh concerning the king of Assyria, he shall not come into this city, nor shoot an arrow there, nor come before it with shields, nor cast a bank against it. But the way that he came, by the same shall he return, and shall not come into this city, says Yahweh. For I'll defend this city to save it for mine own sake, and for my servant Dawid's sake. Then the angels of Yahweh went forth, and smote in the camp of the Assyrians 185,000. And when they arose early in the morning, behold, they were all dead carcasses. So Sennacherib king of Assyria departed, and went and returned, and dwelt at Nineveh. And it came to pass, as he was worshipping in the house of Nisroch his god, that Adremelech and Sharezer his son smote him with the sword, and they escaped into the land of Armenia, and Esarhaddon his son reigned in his stead.
All right, let's go to Jeremiah chapter 23.
Jeremiah chapter 23 and verse 1. Woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, says Yahweh. Therefore thus says Yahweh Elohim of Israel against the pastors that feed my people. You have scattered my flock and driven them away, and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doings, says Yah.
All right, so then what we have to deal with, if you look at even the note here, it says a message against the faithless shepherds. We're going to have to do some definition there and look at a few things so we understand exactly what it is he's talking about. Go ahead.
And I'll gather the remnant of my flock out of all countries whither I have driven them. And I'll bring them again to their folds, and they shall be fruitful and increase. And I'll set up shepherds over them which shall feed them. And they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed, neither shall they be lacking, says Yahweh. Behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that I'll raise unto Dawid a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. In his days Yehudah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely, and this is his name whereby he shall be called. Yahweh our righteousness.
Right. So then part of the thing that we have to deal with, a lot of times in especially the Christian understanding of things, they merge a whole lot of things together. As he's talking about this situation of a shepherd, he then automatically goes into the situation of Dawid and then Yahshua. So when he's talking about a shepherd, which is also where they list this same thing as pastor, what is he talking about? Was David a priest or king? Okay. Go ahead.
Verse 7. Therefore, behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that they shall no more say, Yahweh lives, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But Yahweh lives, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country, and from all countries where I had driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land. Mine heart within me is broken because of the prophets, all my bones shake. I am like a drunken man, and like a man whom wine has overcome because of Yah, and because of the words of his holiness. For the land is full of adulterers, for because of swearing the land mourns. The pleasant places of the wilderness are dried up, and their course is evil, and their force is not right. For both prophet and priest are profane. Yes, in my house have I found their wickedness, says Yahweh. Wherefore their ways shall be unto them as slippery ways in the darkness. They shall be driven on, and fall therein. For I'll bring evil upon them, even the year of their visitation, says Yah. And I have seen folly in the prophets of Samaria. They prophesied in Baal, and caused my people Israel to err. I have seen also in the prophets of Jerusalem an horrible thing. They commit adultery, and walk in lies. They strengthen also the hands of evildoers, that none does return from his wickedness.
None does return from his wickedness, because when you strengthen the hand of evildoers, there's no reason to turn back. Go ahead.
They are all of them unto me as Sodom, and in the inhabitants thereof as Gomorrah. Therefore thus says Yahweh of hosts concerning the prophets, Behold, I will feed them with wormwood, and make them drink the water of gall. For from the prophets of Jerusalem is profaneness gone forth into all the land. Thus says Yahweh of hosts, Hearken not unto the words of the prophets that prophesy unto you. They make you vain. They speak a vision of their own heart, and not out of the mouth of Yah. They say still unto them that despise me, Yahweh hath said, You shall have peace. And they say unto everyone that walks after the imagination of his own heart, No evil shall come upon you.
But that's what the people want to hear. The people want to hear, no matter what you do, no evil shall come upon you. That's not of Yahweh. Go ahead.
For who has stood in the counsel of Yah, and has perceived and heard his word? Who has marked his word and heard it? Behold, a whirlwind of Yahweh is gone forth in fury, even a grievous whirlwind. It shall fall grievously upon the head of the wicked. The anger of Yahweh shall not return until he have executed, until he have performed the thoughts of his heart. In the latter days you shall consider it perfectly. I have not sent these prophets, yet they ran. I have not spoken to them, yet they prophesied. But if they had stood in my counsel, and had caused my people to hear my words.
His words is his law. If he had pushed those people to walk in the law, but this is where you have the issues. As you start pushing to deal with what Yahweh has stated in his law, statutes, and judgments, this is where you get the kickback against Israel. Go ahead.
Then they should have turned them from their evil way, and from the evil of their doings. Am I a El at hand, says Yahweh, and not a El afar off? Can any hide himself in secret places that I shall not see him? Says Yahweh. Do not I fill heaven and earth? Says Yahweh. I have heard what the prophets said, that prophesy lies in my name, saying, I have dreamed, I have dreamed. How long shall this be in the heart of the prophets that prophesy lies? Yes, they are prophets of the deceit of their own heart, which think to cause my people to forget my name by their dreams which they tell every man to his neighbor, as their fathers have forgotten my name for Baal. The prophet that has a dream, let him tell a dream. And he that has my word, let him speak my word faithfully. What is the shaft to the wheat, says Yahweh? Is not my word like as a fire, says Yahweh, and like a hammer that breaks the rock in pieces? Therefore, behold, I am against the prophets, says Yah, that steal my words, every one from his neighbor.
Right. If I read from the prophet of Jeremiah, I can't then turn around and say I prophesied that. That was given to Jeremiah. If I go and read the words of Isaiah, I can't say I prophesied that. That was given to Isaiah. That wasn't given to me. So then you have, and you think about that concept where you have people on the corner. They say, well, anytime you read and brother, you prophesying, so you need to remove your head covering. Man, y'all didn't give me this. So now because I'm reading it, I'm a prophet. He ain't give me this. So now I gotta take my head covering off. But you notice what's interesting? They say you shall not pray or prophesy with your head covered. All right. So my question is, so y'all praying and prophesying all the time? Because I don't never see your head covered. You must pray and prophesy 24/7. Because your head ain't never covered. So how can I take the words that Yahweh done gave to somebody else, and they had turmoil to get these things, then I'm going to take them like they were given to me, and now I'm a prophet. Now I need to remove my head covering whenever I say something. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 31. Behold, I am against the prophets, says Yahweh, that use their tongues, and says, he saith. Behold, I am against them that prophesy false dreams, says Yahweh, and do tell them, and cause my people to err by their lies and by their lightness. Yet I sent them not, nor commanded them. Therefore they shall not profit this people at all, says Yah. And when this people, or the prophet, or a priest, shall ask you, saying, what is the burden of Yah? You shall then say unto them, what burden? I will even forsake you, says Yah. And as for the prophet, and the priest, and the people that shall say, the burden of Yahweh, I will even punish that man and his house. Thus shall you say, every one to his neighbor, and every one to his brother, what has Yahweh answered, and what has Yahweh spoken? And the burden of Yahweh shall you mention no more, for every man's word shall be his burden, for you have perverted the words of the living El, of Yahweh of hosts, our El. Thus shall you say to the prophet, what has Yahweh answered you, and what has Yahweh spoken? But since you say, the burden of Yahweh, therefore thus says Yah. Because you say this word, the burden of Yahweh, and I have sent unto you, saying, you shall not say, the burden of Yah. Therefore, behold, I, even I, will utterly forget you, and I'll forsake you, and the city that I gave you and your fathers, and cast you out of my presence. And I'll bring an everlasting reproach upon you, and a perpetual shame, which shall not be forgotten.
All right, let's go to Ezekiel chapter 34. See, it's going to be a real strange thing as Yahweh starts to regather the children of Israel and order us back in the places where we once were before. He says, I'm going to restore your judges as at the first. So you have bloodlines of individuals who come from the priesthood. You have bloodlines of individuals who come from the kingship. And Yahweh is going to start orchestrating those people back to the place where their ancestors were. But oftentimes we get these emails where people can tell us, or they believe that they can tell us exactly where this tribe at. They say, well, Dan is the people in Ethiopia. And then they give me all these reasons why this is that. As if somehow everything that happened, people only moved along just with the tribe of their fathers. And we're talking about straight turmoil now. We're talking about destruction, chaos, murder, and mayhem. But somehow we all left in the buddy system and we stayed in with our buddy. Even as things are blowing up beside us, we stayed with the buddy. And then when the heathen got a hold of us, He kept us with our buddy. Now, all we got to do is look at slavery and we can tell that that wasn't so. They didn't care who family they split up. There's folks who went from one street to another street, just from one plantation to another plantation, never saw them people again. They went but a quarter mile away, never saw them again. Somebody came, bought them, took them. All they could do was cry and watch them leave, never to be seen again. Quarter mile. Ezekiel 34, and let's read verses 1 through 10.
And the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, prophesy against the shepherds of Israel. Prophesy and say unto them, Thus says the Adonai Yah unto the shepherds, Woe be to the shepherds of Israel that do feed themselves. Should not the shepherds feed the flocks? You eat the fat, and you clothe you with the wool. You kill them that are fed, but you feed not the flock. The diseased have you not strengthened, neither have you healed that which was sick, neither have you bound up that which was broken, neither have you brought again that which was driven away, neither have you sought that which was lost, but with force and with cruelty have you ruled them. And they were scattered, because there is no shepherd, and they became meat to all the beasts of the field, when they were scattered. My sheep wandered through all the mountains, and upon every high hill. Yes, my flock was scattered upon all the face of the earth, and none did search out to seek after them. Therefore, you shepherds, hear the word of Yah. As I live, says the Adonai Yah, surely because my flock became a prey, and my flock became meat to every beast of the field, because there was no shepherd, neither did my shepherds search for my flock, but the shepherds fed themselves and fed not my flock. Therefore, O you shepherds, hear the word of Yah. Thus says the Adonai Yah, Behold, I am against the shepherds, and I will require my flock at their hand, and cause them to cease from feeding the flock. Neither shall the shepherds feed themselves any more, for I will deliver my flock from their mouth, that they may not be meat for them.
All right, now we're going to hold your place. We're not going anywhere from there. What I want to do is, brother, read the next graphic here, and then we're going to have to break down each one of these words here.
Jeremiah chapter 2 and verse 8. The priest said not, Where is Yahweh?
Mm-hmm.
And they that handle the law knew me not.
All right, now we got a separation there. Now another statement is coming. Go ahead.
The pastors also transgressed against me.
Uh-huh.
And the prophets prophesied by Baal, and walked after things that do not profit.
All right, go to the next graphic. So let's look at each one of these words. So now let's look at priest. Go ahead.
From H3548, the Hebrew word Kohen, active participle of H3547, literally one officiating, a priest, also by courtesy an acting priest, also a layman, chief ruler, own, priest, prince, principal, officer. So
you understand in some aspects how they began to push these things together. Read the, go to the next graphic.
Pastor from H7462, Ra'ah, a primitive root to tend a flock, that is, pasture it, intransitively to graze, literally or figuratively, generally to rule.
So then understand, like what we just read, it says priests, pastors, and prophets. It separates each one of those. So now we have the priests, then you have the prophets, and it is then to tend the flock, that is to pasture it, right? All right, go to the next one.
Prophet from H5030, Nabi. From H5012, a prophet or generally inspired man. Prophecy, that prophesy, prophet.
Okay, so then those are the three things that are in there, but what we have just been reading, though, has been about the shepherds, right? Mm-hmm. So now, read the next definition of shepherd.
From H7462, Ra'ah.
Wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Back. Back up. Read the one for pastor again.
H7462.
Okay.
Ra'ah.
Go back again and read the one for shepherd.
H7462. Ra'ah.
So the same word.
Yes, sir.
So the same word for shepherd is the same word for pastor. What is interesting when you're talking about the pastors and shepherds, those are leaders. Those are not the same thing as priests. Okay, what people will easily say, people have no problem calling a person a pastor, but they have a problem saying a priest. A pastor, by definition, has more power than a priest. So they think that the statement of priest is a out of line statement. No. When you're talking about you the shepherd of a flock or you the pastor of something, that has more power. Now, pay attention. Just like I said earlier, was Dawid was trained by dealing with the sheep. Was he trained to be a priest or was he trained to be a king? See? So understand, this is where when Yahshua comes into the play, now things get difficult. Why? Because he's king and priest. See, you got to understand the levels when you start dealing with this stuff, or you're going to deal with something out of the way. Now let's go back to Ezekiel 34, and now let's finish reading that now with a different understanding. Go ahead.
You know, even with that said, when you say what was Dawid, everybody keeps saying king. No, he was a pastor first.
Hey, he had to train this man, but he wasn't training him for the priesthood. Matter of fact, when Dawid said, I want to build a house, he said, no, you can't build my house. Why? Because he had already shed too much blood. Why? That was his job. So now pay attention. When it says you shepherds, the people have been driven out and you didn't go get them. Is it the priest's job to go get something? Come on, walk with me. Is it the priest's job or is it the king's job? Whose job is it?
Kings.
Okay, see, you find when people start mixing things, you understand that they don't really understand what it is they're doing. You got to understand the levels and the job description. See, if you work in the warehouse and they find you up in accounting, they gonna definitely say something to you. Ain't you the dude that supposed to be on the forklift? Why you here messing with our numbers?
Well, I was looking. She didn't carry that one. You know what I'm saying? I was looking.
Man, hold on, man. Hold on. I'm gonna need you to go get back on that forklift. Because you're up in here in our numbers, but this ain't where you're supposed to be. This not your job. You don't really understand your job description. And when you don't understand the job description, how can you do the job? Go ahead.
Ezekiel chapter 34 and verse 11. For thus says the Adonai Yah, behold, I, even I, will both search my sheep and seek them out.
Mm-hmm. Now, what does it say? What's your note say up there?
Israel,
right above it.
Is Israel to be restored, the Davidic kingdom to be set up.
Okay, so we understand now that we're dealing with kingship. Okay, so you got to take that Christian understanding and you're going to have to lead that. You can't bring that, have the Hebrew teaching, and then make it wear a Christian dress. You're going to have to lead that. Go ahead.
As a shepherd seeks out his flock in the day, that he is among his sheep that are scattered, so will I seek out my sheep, and will deliver them out of all places where they have been scattered in the cloudy and dark day.
And understand, Yahweh started what? Dealing with the kings. It was the kings that was ruling incorrectly. Those are kings that he's dealing with. When they came looking for the son of Dawid, was they coming at Yahshua because he was a priest? No, they said, where is he that is born king of the Jews? It was their kingship that they were threatened by, not his ability to be in the priesthood. So we got to understand what it is we're supposed to be dealing with. You can't just cross them lines and don't deal with that correctly. Go ahead.
And I'll bring them out from the people and gather them from the countries and will bring them to their own land and feed them upon the mountains of Israel by the rivers and in all the inhabited places of the country.
Okay, what's the king's job? The king's job is to fight the enemies of Israel. The king's job is to go back and get Israel and bring them back. That's the king. So when Yahweh said, I'm your king, Yahweh said, I'm going to come and get you out of them countries. Why? Because that's the job of a king. So if you don't understand somebody's job description, you'll turn around, go to Walmart and start fussing at the door person. Talking about what they didn't do. What you don't understand is their job. You are blaming the wrong person because you don't understand the job description. You need to understand the job description. That's not their job. Go ahead.
I mean, you got to think about even in cases of war or disagreements, when somebody gets captured in another country, who does the family go to? The leader of that country.
Right.
Man, go talk to them people and get my family member back.
Right. Hey, you start going to the priest, you don't understand, you're going to the wrong people. Hey, my kid get locked up, I ain't going to a doctor.
Excuse me, where's a lawyer? My boy done got himself up in some mess.
I ain't got no doctor. Why need to go to the doctor for? He in jail. They got 2 pills and call me in the morning? And do that get you out of jail? Go ahead, bro.
I will feed them in a good pasture, and upon the high mountains of Israel shall their fold be. There shall they lie in a good fold, and in a fat pasture shall they feed upon the mountains of Israel. I will feed my flock, and I will cause them to lie down, says the Adonai. I will seek that which was lost, and bring again that which was driven away, and will bind up that which was broken, and will strengthen that which was sick. But I will destroy the fat and the strong. I will feed them with judgment.
That's a king's job. See, Yahweh separated the kings and the priests because it would be an abuse of power if it's not done correctly. Yahweh separated those two. Don't they do the same thing here? Don't they have separations of government? Okay, they have separations of government to monitor power. So if you don't understand what power somebody has, you're putting a whole lot of things on them. That's not their job. Yahweh separates those things for a reason, so that one entity does not get too powerful. Go ahead.
You know, even with the situation of when the prophet comes to a person, they're usually coming to you with something that you can relate to. Because you got to think about the funny part of when the prophet went to Dawid and he said there was a man with a ewe lamb. You know how much that means to him already. A shepherd boy, and you talking about a ewe lamb? Had one little ewe lamb? Hey man, he went straight to the heart.
Yep. And it didn't take Dawid long to understand that he's saying some things that ain't nobody else gonna know. See? His approach and the information. Go ahead.
And as for you, O my flock, thus says the Adonai, behold, I judge between cattle and cattle, between the rams and the he-goats. Seemeth it a small thing unto you to have eaten up the good pasture, but you must tread down with your feet the residue of your pastures, and not to have drunken of the deep waters, but you must foul the residue with your feet.
Right. Now you got to deal with all this and think about what the kings, when we go through the book of the kings, it's the king that did this and he did evil. Boom, Yahweh remove him. And then the king come and then he did evil. And then this king come. It going from king to king to king to king. This is why the people were looking for a righteous king / priest in Yahshua. Go ahead.
And as for my flock, they eat that which you have trodden with your feet, and they drink that which you have fouled with your feet. Therefore thus says the Adonai unto them, behold, I, even I, will judge between the fat cattle and between the lean cattle, because you have thrust with the side and with the shoulder, and pushed all the diseased with your horns, till you have scattered them abroad. Therefore will I save my flock, and they shall no more be a prey, and I'll judge between cattle and cattle.
Right. Yahweh judge between Israel and Israel. See? Just because you're the apple of his eye don't mean you get to hurt the apple of his eye. He ain't confused. Go ahead.
And I'll set up one shepherd over them.
All right, now who's his shepherd? Keep reading.
And he shall feed them, even my servant Dawid.
So one shepherd, he talking about Dawid. Dawid is a what? King. Go ahead.
He shall feed them, and he shall be their shepherd.
Right. If Yahweh is going to deal with you, he's not going to deal with you in your misunderstanding of Christian understanding. He's going to deal with you in the understanding of this word. Before he started talking, he said, son of man, tell me what you see. And they had to explain what they saw. So then when you get something and it's not correct according to as it's written, you got to ask yourself where that came from. Go ahead.
And I, Yahweh, will be their El, and my servant David a prince among them. I, Yahweh, have spoken it. And I'll make with them a covenant of peace, and will cause the evil beast to cease out of the land. And they shall dwell safely in the wilderness, and sleep in the woods. And I'll make them and the place round about my hill a blessing, and I'll cause the shower to come down in his season. There shall be showers of blessing. And the tree of the field shall yield her fruit, and the earth shall yield her increase, and they shall be safe in their land, and shall know that I am Yahweh, when I have broken the bands of their yoke, and delivered them out of the hand of those that serve themselves of them. And they shall no more be a prey to the heathen, neither shall the beast of the land devour them, but they shall dwell safely, and none shall make them afraid.
If they're going to dwell safely and none shall make them afraid, then that's going to be the power of the king. When people got kidnapped and things happened, David had to go get them people back. Because that's the job of a king. They ain't send no priest. Hey, y'all go over there and pray. Man, we don't need no prayer. We need some weapons. You don't understand who you're sending. Go ahead, bro.
And I'll raise up for them a plant of renown, and they shall be no more consumed with hunger in the land, neither bear they the shame of the heathen any more. Thus shall they know that I, Yahweh their El, am with them, and that they, even the house of Israel, are my people, says the Adonai Yah. And you, my flock, the flock of my pasture, are men, and I am your El, says Yahweh Elohim.
All right, let's go to Luke chapter 2. Luke chapter 2, and let's read verses 41 through 52. See, dealing with Yahshua is where, the whole shepherd part gets confusing, because you got to understand, this is where Sunday morning start. All right? Since they start at that point, there's no understanding of priest, prophet. They just jump straight to pastors and shepherds. So that's where that understanding is. But Yahweh didn't start at the middle of the book. So if you start with that, you're going to be off in the understanding of what's happening here. So now let's Luke chapter 2, let's start at verse 41, so that it is the introduction of Yahshua that does complicate this matter. See? So if you start right there, almost definitely you're going to have a different understanding, because you didn't get the base part before you got this. See, we got this first when we went to church on Sunday morning. Well, then you got to rearrange that and reevaluate that. You can't still keep that thought process as you're going through all of this, that you're going to keep everything else. No, you have to show honor and glory unto Yahweh and allow him to rearrange that stuff. It don't mean that everything that you learned was wrong. You got to put it in the proper context. That ain't supposed to be sitting there. It's supposed to be sitting over here. And if you're not going to let him do that, you're spinning your wheels and you're wasting your time. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 41. Now his parents went to Jerusalem every year at the feast of the Passover. And when he was 12 years old, they went up to Jerusalem after the custom of the feast. And when they had fulfilled the days, as they returned, the child Yahshua tarried behind in Jerusalem. And Joseph and his mother knew not of it.
Now see, this is also where we get a little bit of that Sunday morning understanding. Because we got several different, we got baby Jesus. We got teenage Jesus. They got high school Jesus. Then they got just now able to drink some wine Jesus. Then you got Jesus who going on and now he's, operating as a priest. See, they give us all of these things, okay? And we take them, all right? Well, we got to put that somewhere. When we get ready to deal with this in truth and in spirit, you're going to have to take your baby Jesus and all of those things, and you're going to have to sit them somewhere when you get ready to deal with this. Otherwise, you're going to put that in some places. So now you got 12 years old. Now let's read what was happening.
But they, supposing him to have been in the company, went a day's journey, and they sought him among their kinsfolks and acquaintance. And when they found him not, they turned back again to Jerusalem, seeking him. And it came to pass that after 3 days they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the doctors, both hearing them and asking them questions.
So at 12, this is a holy entity, but he ain't in there telling them nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Now he could have been a brat.
I am the Son of God.
He could have been real nasty. That's not what he was doing. He was asking and learning. See, the book says, wait on your ministry. Why Yahshua didn't just say, look, man, I've been on here 12, it's 12 tried, right? I'm 12. All right. I think it's time to do this thing. Let's go ahead and do this thing. You know, I ain't got time to be waiting. Where they coat that, you know? Okay?
But then it goes to show you, like when you got the Mormons and these other places who are appointing elders at 12.
Elders at 12.
He was learning.
Right.
Y'all putting people in position to teach people at 12.
Right. At 12, he asking questions. He ain't telling nobody nothing. And if there's anybody who deserves to tell somebody something, he would be it. Yet he's learning. See? Because he know he doesn't have the authority at this point. But he gonna get it. But here's the thing. You don't get the authority if you mess up the authority before you get it. See, this is how they trick us in the hood. You got a right to bear arms, right? You can get a legal firearm at 21, right? Not if they catch you with a firearm before 21. Then they revoke your right to have one. Now, ain't that slick? So then they got all of this turmoil going on in our neighborhoods, right? So then we want to get arms quick. So then when we get it, you then, once you get caught, you now lose your ability to have and bear arms for the rest of your life. Now you ask yourself, between 15 and 20 is 5 years. The rest of your life after that, you can't legally bear arms unless you go through all this process. And most people don't go through the process. They scare us with the process. You see that? It's a game and a plan. Because you do something out of order and you try to do it so fast, now you lose your ability to do it for the rest of your life. What all you had to do was wait. Then not only could you have it, you would be able to have it for the rest of your life. Go ahead, bro.
You know, it's like you're mentioning him having the power already and using it in the wrong way. And that's another point to that too, is that we'll have it and not understanding what it means to carry it and do something dumb and lose the privilege.
Right. See, I know somebody who killed their best friend playing with a gun. They had that power too early. See, when you get the power too early, you are reckless with the power because you don't understand the limitations of the real power. So you deal with it in a way that's going to cause somebody some issues. Killed his best friend. And the family just didn't want to press charges. So he ended up about 2 years in jail for murder. Because he was young. They wouldn't push it. Because they didn't know what the whole thing was or didn't want to condemn him after they done lost their kid. And they know that they were friends. Had that power too early. This is why Yahweh don't give power to a novice. When you reckless with power, somebody gonna die, and somebody might be you. Go ahead, bro.
Luke chapter 2 and verse 47. And all that heard him were astonished at his understanding and answered.
Right, but he didn't use that understanding to belittle them, did he? See? Go ahead.
And when they saw him, they were amazed. And his mother said unto him, Son, why have you thus dealt with us? Behold, your father and I have sought you sorrowing.
And understand Joseph's point. Joseph didn't father this child. You're talking about a good man. He know that ain't his child. But he taking care of everything with this child like he fathered it. Man, you got Jake father kids and won't take care of them at all. And this man taking care of everything. They say, hey man, they finna come kill the kid. All right, well, we got to move. We got to go. They're not even here. How many of us would have been like, oh, they come to kill the kid? Well, you know what? That ain't mine. You know what I'm saying? I just want, I got, you know what, Yahshua, I got to go ahead and tell you, man, you're adopted. All right? Yahshua, you're adopted. I'm sorry you got to find out this way. But I like this place we got here in Copernicus. All right? I don't want to leave. All right? So I hope it work out for you and your mama. You know what I'm saying? I hope it work out for you and your mama. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Real deal. There you go. What? You see why Yahweh chose that man, right? See? Because, see, what Israel will do, as long as everything going good, they fine. What happened when they trying to kill your whole family because of this boy, and that boy not yours? See, that's when we start to contemplate.
You know, he do look like Yaakov.
Right. Go ahead, bro.
I mean, even in this situation, there's respect that's given to him too by her when she says, your father and I have sought you. Because remember, they done went back.
Oh, yeah.
I could have said, now you go find your boy.
Right.
I'm going to keep going.
Because y'all know we'll do that. Mine's still here. Hey, hold on. I sometimes I do it to this day. And them kids be bad. Look, your child. And you need to go get your daughter. I don't know what. She tripping. Go ahead, bro.
And he said unto them, how is it that you sought me? Know you not that I must be about my father's business? And they understood not the saying which he spake unto them. And he went down with them, and came to Nazareth, and was subject unto them. But his mother kept all these sayings in her heart. And Yahshua increased in wisdom and stature.
He increased. So he's gradually getting those things. Even the son of Elohim didn't a zip tang and got everything. This ain't like the Matrix, you know, where they put on karate. All right, I know Kung Fu. You know what I'm saying? No, that ain't what happened. That ain't what happened. They didn't just put the book in front of me. I know prophecy. No, that's not what happened. He got that little by little. And he had to wait on it. Go ahead, bro.
And in the favor with El and man.
If they get one of them pills, though, I want one of them Kung Fu pills and a prophecy pill. I'm taking that, bro. You understand? Boy, they gonna have to get out of over there. But Yahshua, he has a Kung Fu pill. I still remember them old days of Kung Fu Gold when they used to jump from the ground and jump in the tree. You know what I'm saying? Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that? I found out later that basically they was in the tree and they just jumped down and they just reversed it. Oh my God. You know how many times as a youngster I tried to jump into a tree? Yeah, I was like, man, this don't work, but it work on Kung Fu Gold. Man, a lot of brothers got beat up after watching Kung Fu Gold. We would watch Kung Fu Gold and you couldn't tell us nothing, but we come outside. You can tell who had just watched Kung Fu Gold. All right? Because we come outside. Yeah. You be like, oh man, he don't watch Kung Fu Gold, bro. It's about to be ugly over here. You know, man, come on, bro. You don't know no Kung Fu? Go sit down. No, man, I've been watching Kung Fu Gold and I'm about to show you something I just learned. All right? You about to get it? Yeah, man, it don't work like that. Luke chapter 3, and let's start at verse 1.
Now in the 15th year of the reign of Tiberius Caesar, Pontius Pilate being governor of Yehuda, and Herod being tetrarch of Galilee, and his brother Philip tetrarch of Iturea, and of the region of Trachonitis, and Lysanias the tetrarch of Abilene. Annas and Caiaphas being the high priests, the word of Elohim came unto Johanan the son of Zacharias in the wilderness.
Okay, so the word came unto Johanan, son of Zacharias. What was Zacharias? Priest. See, he doesn't just randomly pick people. There is some method to what he does. Go ahead.
And he came into all the country about Jordan, preaching the baptism of repentance for the remission of sins, as it is written in the book of the words of Esaias the prophet, saying, the voice of one crying in the wilderness, prepare you the way of the Adonai, make his path straight. Every valley shall be filled, and every mountain and hill shall be brought low, and the crooked shall be made straight, and the rough ways shall be made smooth. And all flesh shall see the salvation of Elohim. Then said he to the multitude that came forth to be baptized of him, O generation of vipers, who have warned you to flee from the wrath to come?
Now see, when you look at things, I don't know how we didn't see that though on Sunday morning. Here it is, okay? These people coming to be baptized, and he still spoke harsh to them. See, we all about, niceties. Oh, here God is love. He said, then said he to the multitude. He said this to a lot of people that came forth to be baptized of him. Generation of poisonous snakes. Who warned you to flee from the wrath to come? Is he not of Elohim? This was the only man on earth who could baptize Yahshua. Is he without love? Is he harsh? Does he not love the people? Go ahead, bro.
Bring forth therefore fruits worthy of repentance, and begin not to say within yourself, we have Abraham to our father, for I say unto you, that Elohim is able of these stones to raise up children unto Abraham. And now also the axe is laid unto the root of the trees. Every tree therefore which brings not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. And the people asked him, saying, what shall we do then? He answered and says unto them, he that has 2 coats, let him impart to him that has none, and he that has meat, let him do likewise. Then came also publicans to be baptized, and said unto him, Master, what shall we do? And he said unto them, exact no more than which is appointed you. And the soldiers likewise demanded of him, saying, and what shall we do? And he said unto them, do violence to no man, neither accuse any falsely, and be content with your wages.
There's a lot being said right there. Do violence to no man, neither accuse any falsely, and be content with your wages. Go ahead.
When we look at the multitude, now they're breaking down the type of people that's in this multitude. These are people that could have done something to him. Right.
But he didn't care. He dealt with what he needed to deal with. And then when it comes down to showing love and giving answers, he gave the answers to those who actually saw those things. But then you got the multitude who just came. What did Yahshua say? He said, some of y'all didn't come from the spiritual food. Y'all came for the natural food. Y'all came because we made food. See, I got a grill back there on my trailer. If you drive slow enough, Israel will just follow the grill. They just. And if you really want them, set a fire on it. Well, we'll walk down the street, man.
Somebody cooking out here. What's going on down here?
Folks just walk up to your house, you cooking? Hey! Cousin Pete! How you doing? Man, we ain't cousin. Right. Go ahead.
And as the people were in expectation, and all men mused in their hearts of Yohanan, whether he were the Mashiach or not, Yohanan answered, saying unto them all, I indeed baptize you with water, but one mightier than I comes, the latchet of whose shoes I am not worthy to unloose. He shall baptize you with the Holy Spirit and with fire.
Right. He was able to humble himself, even though they were giving him this title. He knew he didn't fit that. That was not his job, but the people were more willing to give it to him than they were to Yahshua, because they knew he was the son of a priest. Go ahead.
Whose fan is in his hand, and he will thoroughly purge his floor, and will gather the wheat into his garner, but the chaff he will burn with fire unquenchable. And many other things in his exhortation preached he unto the people. But Herod the tetrarch, being reproved by him for Herodias, his brother Philip's wife, and for all the evils which Herod had done, added yet this above all, that he shut up Johanan in prison.
Right. It says, but Herod the Tetrarch being reproved by him for Herodias, his brother Philip's wife. So he done got himself in trouble just by speaking the law. Hey man, it's not lawful for you to have your brother's wife.
Put him in jail.
See that? Dealing with, and this is law. He didn't need nobody to prophesy law unto him. I can read the law. This is what the law say. Go ahead.
Now when all the people were baptized, it came to pass that Yahshua also being baptized and praying, the heaven was opened, and the Holy Spirit descended in a bodily shape like a dove upon him. And a voice came from heaven, which said, You are my beloved Son. In you I am well pleased. And Yahshua himself began to be about 30 years of age, being, as was supposed, the son of Joseph, which was the son of Heli.
So he had great understanding at 12, but he couldn't enter into the priesthood until 30. Decent and in order. See, we have to understand that. And Yahshua is dealing with two things. He's dealing with the kingship and priesthood. So although he had all of this understanding, he had to still wait. So we have to consider that. What would have happened had he entered that the wrong way? We have to understand why it is imperative that Yahshua enter into the priesthood / kingship the correct way. As it is written, he that enters by the door is the shepherd. He that enters any other way is a thief and a robber. Had he entered into the priesthood before the time or in an unapproved fashion, the sacrifice of his own precious flesh would have been in vain. And Yahweh was not about to let that happen. Numbers chapter 16. Think about all the things that Yahweh orchestrated for this to happen in a timely fashion. He has these one people to be barren all this time, then give birth to this child, and this child is the only one who can baptize Yahshua. He's got all of that. You think he did all of that to just let Yahshua boast himself at 12 over the things that he knew? Man, if you mess this up, do you understand how long I got to wait? This is supposed to be set for this time. And you can't mess up the time. When Moshe was brought forth, it was the time of Israel's deliverance. But he had to go through all of them things. He had to go through 40 years of being with Egypt. And then he had to go out there and get trained as a priest, then come back in. That was the timing. So that means Yahweh started 80 years before. See, we're so busy dealing in the right now, we don't understand. Yahweh done put things in place for things to happen. How you feel right now don't mean a hill of beans. He been planning this. Go ahead, bro.
Numbers chapter 16 and verse 8. And Moshe said unto Korah, Hear I pray you, you sons of Levi. Seemeth it but a small thing unto you, that the Elohim of Israel has separated you from the congregation of Israel, to bring you near to himself, to do the service of the tabernacle of Yah, and to stand before the congregation to minister unto them? And he has brought you near to him, and all your brethren, the sons of Levi, with you. And seek you the priesthood also?
So now you're going to enter into the priesthood? He has already given you things, but you're going to seek the priesthood as well? So you have to consider, had Yahshua entered into this in the incorrect way, what kind of damnation would have been there? Go ahead.
For which cause both you and all your company are gathered together against Yah. And what is Aaron that you murmur against him? And Moshe sent to call Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, which said, We will not come up. Is it a small thing that you have brought us up out of the land that flows with milk and honey, to kill us in the wilderness, except you make yourself altogether a prince over us?
Right. See, these are the things that Israel, any leader of Israel has to deal with. 13. Is it a small thing that you has brought us up out of the land? No, let's go before that. And Moshe sent to call Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, which said, We will not come up. We don't respect you. We're just here to be a thorn in your side. Go ahead.
Moreover, you have not brought us into a land that flows with milk and honey, or given us inheritance of fields and vineyards. Will you put out the eyes of these men? We will not come up. And Moshe was very angry, and said unto Yahweh, respect not you their offerings.
Now see, this is what happened. Now the holy man has gotten pushed. Okay? The holy man has gotten pushed, and now some things are about to come out of his mouth. Go ahead.
I have not taken one ass from them, neither have I hurt one of them. And Moshe said unto Korah, be you and all your company before Yahweh, you and they and Aaron tomorrow. And take every man his censer, and put incense in them, and bring you before Yahweh every man his censer, 250 censers, you also and Aaron, each of you his censer. And they took every man his censer, and put fire in them, and laid incense thereon, and stood in the door of the tabernacle of the congregation with Moshe and Aaron. And Korah gathered all the congregation against them onto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation.
They have led mutiny against him, and they have convinced these people that they're all right. Go ahead.
And the glory of Yahweh appeared unto all the congregation. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe and unto Aaron, saying, separate yourselves from among this congregation.
You get an opportunity to sanctify yourself. Separate yourselves from this thing that's about to happen. But you know us, we like to take it down to the wire with some tough cookies. So we don't take warning very well. Go ahead.
Separate yourselves from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. And they fell upon their faces and said, O Elohim, the El of the spirits of all flesh, shall one man sin, and shall you be angry with all the congregation?
Now think about the heart that this man got to have. That these people come against him, but then he got to hit his knees and pray for Yahweh not to destroy them. Yet they still going to be angry with him, not knowing that he the one that prayed for them not to be destroyed. Go ahead.
And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, speak unto the congregation, saying, get you up from about the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. And Moshe rose up, and went on to Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him. And he spake unto the congregation, saying, depart, I pray you, from the tents of these wicked men, and touch nothing of theirs, lest you be consumed in all their sins.
They have an opportunity to separate. Okay? Now, you have to look at all the various situations that may be happening right there. So Moshe goes and he says, separate you. Now, this may be an argument within families. No, I believe him. No, I believe him. No, I'm going to do this. No, I'm going to do this. At some point, somebody going to have to make a decision before the destruction comes. Go ahead.
So they gat up from the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram on every side. And Dathan and Abiram came out, and stood in the door of their tents, and their wives, and their sons, and their little children. And Moshe said, hereby you shall know that Yahweh had sent me to do all these works, for I have not done them of mine own mind. If these men die the common death of all men, or if they be visited after the visitation of all men, then Yahweh has not sent me.
That means he is not speaking in general. He's speaking in specific judgment. Specific, I'm going to give you every detail about what's about to happen. This ain't no horoscope. You're going to gain some money. And I get paid every 2 weeks. What are you talking about? Of course I'm going to gain some money. Go ahead.
But if Yahweh make a new thing, and the earth open her mouth.
Not only is he going to tell them, he's going to do something that you ain't never seen before. Go ahead.
And swallow them up, with all that appertain unto them, and they go down quick into the pit, then you shall understand that these men have provoked Yah. And it came to pass, as he had made an end of speaking all these words, that the ground clave asunder that was under them. And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up, and their houses, and all the men that appertained unto Korah, and all their goods.
All the men who refused to leave. They had an opportunity to separate themselves. Go ahead.
They and all that appertained to them went down alive into the pit, and the earth closed upon them, and they perished from among the congregation. And all Israel that were round about them fled at the cry of them.
Now see, that's Israel, ain't it? Oh, we rough, we tough. The ground open up and start eating people, and we take off running. Wait a minute, I thought y'all were about that action. I thought y'all were about it. I thought y'all said y'all would just ride or die. Now you just ride. Where you going? I thought you was about that. Go ahead.
For they said, "Lest the earth swallow us up."
Right, and self-preservation kick in, don't it?
You know what? You know what? You know what? I think we ought to go ahead and leave now, baby.
Go ahead.
And there came out a fire from Yahweh and consumed the 250 men that offered incense.
Why? Because they had entered into the priesthood. Why fire? Yahweh consumed the offering. You put yourself in a situation, you're going to get dealt with just like that situation. The fire of Yahweh consumes the offering. You put yourself in that situation. Now let's deal with it. Go ahead.
Verse 41.
Yeah, jump to verse 41.
But on the morrow all the congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moshe and against Aaron, saying, "You have killed the people of Yah."
See, this your people. No matter what they did, it was Moshe's fault. Now, he warned them. He said everything Yahweh told him to say. They refused to do anything. Then they blame Moshe. You killed Yahweh's people. So exactly when did I develop the skill of opening up the ground? When exactly was that one of the miracles that he gave me? When exactly did he teach me that? But see, that's the thing you got to understand about Israel. When everything going good, we want to party and just go right down in wonderful shindiggery. But as soon as something go bad, Israel gonna try to kill you. Go ahead, bro.
Remember when you parted the water?
Right. Yeah, that was your practice then. That was when you was practicing opening up the ground when you parted that water. Yeah, this is definitely you. You definitely did this. You definitely killed Yahweh's people. But this is Israel. This is it. Are you ready for that? On a grand scale. You talking about dealing with this in this room. Practice. What you gonna do? On a grand scale. Go ahead, bro.
And it came to pass, when the congregation was gathered against Moshe and against Aaron, that they looked toward the tabernacle of the congregation. And, behold, the cloud covered it, and the glory of Yahweh appeared.
Right. See, Israel doesn't count the things that they do to anger Yahweh. All of that seems to somehow be put on the leader. Israel never sees that they have got off into something. It's all his fault. So now that they have now come against the priesthood, the whole rulership, now here comes Yahweh. Go ahead.
And Moshe and Aaron came before the tabernacle of the congregation.
Once again.
And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, Get you up from among this congregation, that I may consume them as in a moment. And they fell upon their faces. And Moshe said unto Aaron, Take a censer, and put fire therein from off the altar, and put on incense, and go quickly unto the congregation, and make an atonement for them, for there is anger gone out from Yah. The plague is begun. And Aaron took as Moshe commanded, and ran into the midst of the congregation.
Ran. Go ahead.
And, behold, the plague was begun among the people. And he put on incense, and made an atonement for the people. And he stood between the dead and the living, and the plague was stayed.
Man, you got to be working with something to do this. You got to be working with something to do this. You see all these people dying, and you jump in between the people that's dying. Now, by the way, they all just blame you for everything that happened. Now, I don't know. Let's make sure we do not take that out of context. Let's make sure that that's in the equation now. These are the same people that just blame you for every problem they have. And then you got to go jump in the midst of the destruction of Yahweh to keep the rest of them from dying. And when you done, Israel give you their tail to kill.
Appreciate it.
Go ahead, bro.
Now they that died in the plague were 14,700.
14,000. Yahweh started like it was. Is Yahweh without love? Is love showed on the disobedient or on the obedient? See? Go ahead, bro.
You know, that's why sometimes we really can't get caught up in our feelings. Seriously, because he could have easily got caught up in the feelings.
Boy. And not made intercession. He could have not made intercession because, hey, we know they got him one time. Hey, you rebels! we know they got him one. Hey, if you ain't never got by Israel, I can tell you ain't been around long. I can tell you that. I can tell you, welcome to Israel. Just hold your seat. We gonna get you sooner or later. Hey, we was able to get a man who glowed. Okay? The man had to put a veil over his face. But who made him speak out of turn? Israel. That's who. Right. Oh, we got miraculous powers. Go ahead, bro.
You know, you just got to look at even Moshe and Aaron. You talking about Moshe telling Aaron run, and he's doing it. This is his younger brother speaking to him. The same person that him and the sister spoke about. But like you say, you can't get caught up in your feelings, because he can be like, man, who are you?
Right. I ain't gonna. Hey, I done told one of my kids before. Hey, run over there. Maybe you misunderstand what the hell run mean. And that's one of mine. I fed them. Go ahead, bro.
Beside them that died about the matter of Korah.
All right, let's go to Jeremiah chapter 18. Hey, if he would have lightly jogged, it might have been 32,000 dead. We might have been reading these numbers altogether different. He said run, but he lightly jogged. And 32,000 were dead. Jeremiah 18, and let's start that at verse 18. We're going to read that through verse 23.
Then said they, come, and let us devise devices against Jeremiah, for the law shall not perish from the priests, nor counsel from the wise, nor the word from the prophet. Come, and let us smite him with the tongue, and let us not give heed to any of his words.
Right, because what happens is, this is why you find things that are written. Yahweh, remember, I've been made to bear the reproach of those that hate you. Remember, I've been made to bear the reproach of those that hate your law. So the reproach of you fell on me. Because they couldn't come and say we hate Yahweh. They couldn't come and say they hate Yahweh's law. But what they can do is put it on the person that they see. And that ends up being that individual's part of their sacrifice. Because they have to deal with things that didn't have nothing to do with them. Go ahead, bro.
Give heed to me, O Yahweh, and hearken to the voice of them that contend with me. Shall evil be recompensed for good? For they have digged a pit for my soul. Remember that I stood before you to speak good for them, and to turn away your anger from them.
Right. Check that out. Remember that I stood before you to speak good for them, and to turn away your wrath, your anger from them. Go ahead.
Therefore deliver up their children to the famine.
See, now they done pushed them to a point. See, you can't push but for so much before the pushback comes. Go ahead.
And pour out their blood by the force of the sword, and let their wives be bereaved of their children.
I'm sorry, he talking about Israel. Go ahead.
And be widows, and let their men be put to death. Let their young men be slain by the sword in battle. Let a cry be heard from their houses, when you shall bring a troop suddenly upon them. For they have digged a pit to take me, and hid snares for my feet.
Hid snares for my feet. They work privately and set up little deceptive traps. Israel ain't changed. We still the same people. Go ahead.
Yet, Yahweh, you knoweth all their counsel against me to slay me.
Right. Yahweh were walking while they were planning. Yahweh was sitting there looking at them as they sliding in the grass. Go ahead.
For Forgive not their lawlessness, neither blot out their sin from your sight, but let them be overthrown before you. Deal thus with them in the time of your anger.
All right, let's go to Isaiah chapter 54. Isaiah chapter 54, and let's start that at verse 1.
Sing, O barren, you that did not bear. Break forth into singing, and cry aloud, you that did not travail with child. For more are the children of the desolate than the children of the married wife, says Yahweh.
Right. But do you believe that Yahweh can do that? Sing, O barren, you that did not bear, break forth into singing. Can you do that? Or we have to wait until we receive? What happened with Hannah? Once Hannah offered up her prayer, her whole countenance was changed. Her countenance didn't change once she got a baby. She said, she went in, barren. Her sister wife got all these kids. She ain't got none. She prayed. She went, laid her supplication before the altar. She believed. The priest said, Yahweh grant you your petition. Boom. Her countenance was automatically changed. She believed Elohim. See? When you believe, there's action that's associated with that belief. See? Her countenance was automatically better. Because she believed Yahweh gonna give me he gonna give me a child. He gonna give me a child. And when he give me a child, I'm gonna give that child back to him. He gonna give me a baby. I know everybody's saying I done got old and I ain't had no baby yet, but I'm gonna have a baby. And I believe. See? And when you believe, there's something that shows in your disposition that you believe. See? Take on the other side, you got the two harlots that lived in the house, and one of them overlaid the baby, right? So she laid on her baby and killed it. The other one stole the baby from that one. What happened? She didn't believe she would get another. So she had to take that in her own hands into getting that child. She had to go steal this other one. But you got what might have given her low self-esteem. They were both harlots. So you already know you got your kid from being a harlot. It's kind of hard to go to Yahweh. You know what? Can you bring Jimmy Lee back down here? Yeah. Hey. So that gets a little difficult then, don't it? So you can see why some of the low self-esteem of trying to ask Yahweh to replenish something that you got in the wrong manner. So now you got to take it in your own hands and get it. As opposed to the other woman who believed in Yahweh, made the prayer, her countenance was changed, boom, then she received. You offer to Yahweh first, then you receive. That's a common concept from the beginning of this book to the end. That ain't changed. First fruit. Go ahead, bro.
Enlarge the place of your tent, and let them stretch forth the curtains of your habitations. Spare not, lengthen your cords, and strengthen your stakes. For you shall break forth on the right hand and on the left, and your seed shall inherit the Gentiles, and make the desolate cities to be inhabited. Fear not, for you shall not be ashamed, neither be you confounded, for you shall not be put to shame. For you shall forget the shame of your youth, and shall not remember the reproach of your widowhood any more. For your Maker is your husband, Yahweh of hosts is his name, and your Redeemer the Holy One of Israel. The El of the whole earth shall he be called.
Your Maker is your husband. Yahweh of hosts is his name. How do we deal with that? See, some can't deal with showing that kind of glory unto a husband. Your Maker is your husband. Are we able to deal with that? Go ahead.
For Yahweh has called you as a woman forsaken and grieved in spirit, and a wife of youth, when you was refused, says Uriel. For a small moment have I forsaken you, but with great mercies will I gather you.
Right. If we get stuck in the moment of punishment and Yahweh making us better, we end up getting stuck in a place that's only supposed to encourage us to be better. That's not his ultimate design for you. That is a place that he's pushing to make you a better individual. But now in your mind and in your feelings, you done got stuck there. So now you're stuck in punishment mode. That wasn't his ultimate destination for you. Go ahead.
In a little anger, I hid my face from you.
In a little anger, I hid my face. That don't mean he was going to stay there. How long it happened based on how long we stayed in stiff-necked rebellion. We are the ones that multiply that. You get in Judges, our first captivity, 4-5 years, then 8 years, then 12 years, then 15 years, then back to 8, then 30. Why did it keep going? Israel, you decide the length of the punishment. Go ahead.
But with everlasting kindness will I have mercy on you, says Yahweh, your Redeemer. For this is as the waters of Noah unto me. For I have sworn that the waters of Noah should no more go over the earth. So have I sworn that I would not be angry with you, nor rebuke you. For the mountains shall depart, and the hills be removed. But my kindness shall not depart from you. Neither shall the covenant of my peace be removed, says Yahweh, that has mercy on you.
Now you know what's interesting? This shows that we bring that Sunday morning thought process. We are in the midst of where Yahweh is trying to get Israel to walk right. What we want to do is jump to the end of the peace and love of Yahweh without making all the changes. Go ahead.
O you afflicted, tossed with tempest, and not comforted, behold, I will lay your stones with fair colors, and lay your foundations with sapphires. And I'll make your windows of agates, and your gates of carbuncles, and all your borders of pleasant stones. And all your children shall be taught of Yah, and great shall be the peace of your children. In righteousness shall you be established, you shall be far from oppression, for you shall not fear, and from terror, for it shall not come near you. Behold, they shall surely gather together, but not by me.
They shall gather together, but it won't have nothing to do with me. See, there's a convocation, and then there's a holy convocation. Oh, it's many gatherings. That's why some actually call their gatherings the gathering. They know that ain't no holiness in it. Go ahead.
Whosoever shall gather together against you shall fall for your sake. Behold, I have created the smith that blows the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy. No weapon that is formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against you in judgment, you shall condemn.
You shall condemn. Every tongue that rises against you in judgment, you shall condemn. But you got to work for that power. That ain't just handed out to you. Go ahead.
This is the heritage of the servants of Yah.
This is the heritage of the servants. Servants do something. We lightly use that word. Servants do something. This is the heritage of the servants. You don't, that ain't just given to you. He says, but he who shall endure to the end. He ain't just passing out these gifts to anybody that come by. Go ahead.
And their righteousness is of me, says Yahweh.
All right, let us hit a conclusion of this matter. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 33. Having to deal with Israel in a lawless situation should be one of the scariest thoughts that you've ever imagined in your mind. Understand, it says he's going to open up the prison houses. Do you understand what's coming out of that when he open it? Angry, festive, and your woman look good. You know what I'm saying? Oh my goodness, look at that.
You in my way.
Exactly. And he's without law. If there's no authorities to stop him. So now it is up to the common people to gather together and stop these individuals. Oh, it ain't just your wife that look good. Your daughter look good too. Oh, and matter of fact, some of them been in a long time. Damn it, you look good. Okay. Okay, let's just go ahead and put that out there. Because we keep thinking, okay, I'm going to protect my wife and my kid. No, you might need to protect yourself. Because they be like, oh my God, you're so cute. Oh my goodness. Look at the way the hair just fall on your lip like that. Oh my goodness. Wait a minute. And this dude got muscles everywhere. Right. Right. He had nothing else to do but work out. And now he's trying to work on you. All this is coming upon Israel, and we keep imagining this from our little pleasant place of talking. No, them people you finna talk to ain't finna be like that. Ezekiel chapter 33, and let's start at verse 1.
Again the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of your people, and say unto them, When I bring the sword upon a land, if the people of the land take a man of their coast, and set him for their watchman, if when he sees the sword come upon the land, he blows the trumpet and warn the people, then whosoever hears the sound of the trumpet, and takes not warning, if the sword come and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head.
Right. The watchman warns the people of Israel. People of Israel do whatever they gonna do. When the destruction comes, the watchman has protected himself. Go ahead.
He heard the sound of the trumpet, and took not warning. His blood shall be upon him, but he that taketh warning shall deliver his soul.
He that takes warning delivers his soul. But you have to humble yourself to be able to take warning. Go ahead.
But if the watchman see the sword come, and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned, if the sword come and take any person from among them, he is taken away in his lawlessness, but his blood will I require at the watchman's hand.
Why y'all even have to put that right there? Why would a watchman not blow the trumpet and warn the people? Because the people done said some stuff to the watchman. See, you gotta know Israel. Why Yahweh even gotta put that? See, because he know his people. That's why he said, I'm gonna make your forehead harder than flint to get ready to deal with this people. Then he got to tell him, hey, because it's the same individual who was told that, by the way. All right. So now he said, hey, look, if you don't warn them, their blood is gonna be at your hand. Why you gotta tell them? Because you know the manner of this people. You know they're gonna provoke you. Go ahead.
And do they kind of take the emotion out of, like, you angry at this person, but you don't want to help them out?
Oh, most definitely. It's the feeling part. It ain't gonna take emotion out.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, feeling emotion a little different. It ain't gonna take emotion out because you gonna always still know what when we were little. We would say, your mama ugly. You know what? I take that back. Yeah, wait a minute. You can't literally take that back. You know what I'm saying? Because it's still in the air. You know what I'm saying? What was said, but it can then take. Once you deal with it, it can help subside some of the anger that thing has caused. But you ain't gonna forget what was said. Moshe ain't forgotten damn thing that happened. Ezekiel ain't forgotten damn thing that happened. See? So this thing is what he's saying here is above all things, do your job. That's the whole point. Do your job. And the job is entered in by covenant. See, y'all don't have no weekend warriors.
You know what I'm saying? I do it, every like first Thursday.
Who the hell are you? Y'all operates by covenant. You either gonna enter in covenant that this what you do, or you ain't. And are you even able to enter into a covenant with Yahweh? Go ahead, bro.
You talking about entering into feelings. The whole story of Jonah is about feelings.
Mm-hmm.
All of that was his feelings just for him to come and say at the end, and what? I knew you was going to forgive them if they repented.
Right.
It's not that he didn't want to do the job.
Right.
He just knew they was going to do it.
Yep. Go ahead.
Verse 7. So you, O son of man, I have set you a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore you shall hear the word at my mouth, and warn them from me.
See, I have set you a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, you shall hear the word at my mouth and warn them from me. So then he is the trumpet. See, the watchman blow the trumpet. This watchman is the trumpet. Go ahead.
When I say unto the wicked, O wicked man, you shall surely die. If you does not speak to warn the wicked from his way, that wicked man shall die in his lawlessness. But his blood will I require at your hand.
Yeah, but what if that's one of our friends and we don't want to say nothing? See, that's one of our friends, so we don't want to acknowledge anything that they have done out of the way of Yahweh's law. See? Or what if that just happened to be Sugar Booger? Go ahead, bro.
Nevertheless, if you warn the wicked of his way to turn from it, if he do not turn from his way, he shall die in his lawlessness, but you have delivered your soul.
You have delivered your soul. See, it's not the watchman's job to make anybody do right. That's not his job. See, you need to understand the job description, lest you blame somebody for something, thinking that it was their job to go and make somebody do right. You don't really understand the job description. That's not his job to make somebody do right. Did you tell him? Yep. Okay. Go ahead.
Therefore, O you son of man, speak unto the house of Israel, thus you speak, saying, if our transgressions and our sins be upon us, and we pine away in them, how should we then live? Say unto them, as I live, says the Adonai Yah, I have no pleasure in the death of the wicked, but that the wicked turn from his way and live. Turn you from your evil ways. For why will you die, O house of Israel?
Right. He has no pleasure in the death of the wicked, but once they have made the decision that they're not going to turn, he's going to take care of his business. Because he's an Elohim that's all about righteous judgment. Go ahead.
Therefore, you son of man, say unto the children of your people, the righteousness of the righteous shall not deliver him in the day of his transgression. As for the wickedness of the wicked, he shall not fall thereby in the day that he turns from his wickedness. Neither shall the righteous be able to live for his righteousness in the day that he sins. When I shall say to the righteous that he shall surely live, if he trust to his own righteousness and commit lawlessness, all his righteousness shall not be remembered. But for his lawlessness that he has committed, he shall die for it. Again, when I say unto the wicked, you shall surely die, if he turn from his sin and do that which is lawful and right, if the wicked restore the pledge, give again that he had robbed, walk in the statutes of life, without committing lawlessness, he shall surely live, he shall not die. None of his sins that he has committed shall be mentioned unto him. He has done that which is lawful and right, he shall surely live.
Do we not see the love in that? Go ahead.
Yet the children of your people say, the way of the Adonai is not equal.
Right, but we got a problem with that. See, we don't like the way Yahweh operates. Go ahead.
But as for them, their way is not equal. When the righteous turns from his righteousness and commits lawlessness, he shall even die thereby. But if the wicked turn from his wickedness and do that which is lawful and right, he shall live thereby. Yet you say, the way of the Adonai is not equal. O you house of Israel, I will judge you everyone after his ways.
I will judge you everyone after his ways. Do we know our ways? Go ahead.
And it came to pass in the 12th year of our captivity, in the 10th month, in the 5th day of the month, that one that had escaped out of Jerusalem came unto me, saying, the city is smitten. Now the hand of Yahweh was upon me in the evening, afore he that escaped came, and had opened my mouth until he came to me in the morning, and my mouth was open, and I was no more dumb. Then the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, they that inhabit those wastes of the land of Israel speak, saying, Abraham was one, and he inherited the land, but we are many. The land is given us for inheritance.
Right. In other words, we really ain't got to do what Yahweh say like that. All right? We the people, he gonna have to just deal with who we are. Go ahead.
Wherefore say unto them, thus says the Adonai Yah, you eat with the blood, and lift up your eyes toward your idols, and shed blood, and shall you possess the land? You stand upon your sword, you work abomination, you defile every one his neighbor's wife, And shall you possess the land?
All these things written in the law. Go ahead.
Say you thus unto them, Thus says the Adonai Yah, as I live, surely they that are in the waste shall fall by the sword, and him that is in the open field will I give to the beast to be devoured, and they that be in the forts and in the caves shall die of the pestilence. For I will lay the land most desolate, and the pomp of her strength shall cease, and the mountains of Israel shall be desolate, that none shall pass through. Then shall they know that I am Yahweh, when I have laid the land most desolate because of all their abominations which they have committed. Also, you son of man, the children of your people still are talking against you by the walls and in the doors of the house, and speak one to another, every one to his brother, saying, Come, I pray you, and hear what is the word that cometh forth from Yah.
Check this out. Also, you son of man, the children of your people still are talking against you by the walls. Now check that out. Now, they speaking against you, saying, let us hear the word of Yahweh. So that means they not really coming to hear the word of Yahweh like that. Go ahead.
And they come unto you as the people cometh, and they sit before you as my people, and they hear your words, but they will not do them. For with their mouth they show much love.
They show love with their mouth. That's Sunday morning thing. See? We bring that with us. They show love with their mouth. Go ahead.
But their heart goes after their covetousness. And lo, you are unto them as a very lovely song of one that has a pleasant voice, and can play well on an instrument. For they hear your words, but they do them not. And when this comes to pass, lo, it will come, then shall they know that a prophet has been among them.
All right. That's all that we're going to do for today. Please govern yourselves accordingly. We do have our new moon. Like I said earlier, we're not going to have a class on this night. We are just going to enjoy our time in fellowship and keeping this Hebrew New Year. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.